In enterprise profitability and cost management, you manage the cost and revenue allocations that transform your basic financial data into fully realized profitability analysis for a business segment, such as products, customers, regions, or entities. This series covers the tasks to create, run, analyze, and troubleshoot models for transforming data in enterprise profitability and cost management. In this video, we'll see how to create models and rules. Models in enterprise profitability and cost management represent a waterfall sequence of calculations for a dataset. They contain allocation rules and custom calculation rules, which you can order and group into rule sets. Let's start with creating a model. A model is a container for a specific set of rules for transforming data. For example, if you want to transform actual data and plan data differently, you create separate models for actual and plan. Enter a name and optional description. Each rule in a model must reference a member from every non-POV dimension. If you know that all or most of your rules will reference the same member from a given dimension, model context saves you time by predefining member selections at the model level. Select a dimension to add it to the model context, then select a member for the dimension. When you're done, save and close the model. Now let's look at creating rule sets and rules. Rules tell the system how to execute allocations and custom calculations. You can sequence rules and group them into sets. The Waterfall Setup tab shows the full sequence of rule sets and rules for a model. On the Designer page, select the model you want to set up. Start by adding a rule set. Define the name, description, and sequence. Enable the rule set to include it in the model calculation. Use the model context to apply member selections you predefined at the model level to the rules in the rule set. Model context is optional for each rule set. Select a calculation option for the rules in the rule set. Serial calculation runs all rules in the rule set according to their sequence number. Parallel calculation runs rules with the same sequence number at the same time. Iterative calculation runs the rules in the rule set multiple times in sequence. Use iterative calculations when you have reciprocal allocation relationships. Like model context, you can also create a rule set context to predefine dimension member selections that apply to all the rules in the set. This simply means you don't have to define all the selections at the individual rule level. When you define rules in the rule set, you can opt out of using the rule set context. When you're done, save and close the rule set. Let's add an allocation rule to the set. This rule allocates rent and utility expenses from the corporate cost center to business function cost centers, based on the occupancy square feet for each cost center as a percentage of total square feet. On the Definition tab, add a rule name and description. Descriptions, while optional, are an opportunity to provide auditors with a complete documentation of the rule's purpose. Without good descriptions, your model documentation reports aren't as useful. You define the sequence of the rule in the set, whether it's enabled, and whether to use the rule set context. By default, the entire source value is allocated. If you want to limit the amount being allocated, select either currency or percentage for allocated amount type and enter either a value or percentage limitation. Next, you define the allocation source and destination. If you're using model or rule set contexts, only dimensions that you haven't predefined are displayed here. On the source side, select where you're allocating data from. You need to select at least one member for each dimension. On the destination side, select where you're allocating data to. Again, select at least one member for each dimension. Notice that some of the selected members have descendants. It's important to know that data is always allocated to the lowest level, so selecting an ancestor here is a shortcut to selecting all its descendants individually. If your destination member is the same as your source member, use the Actions icon to set the destination to Same as Source for the dimension. Next, select a driver. You can allocate the data evenly or specify a driver location. Next, select an allocation offset location. The offset can be in the source location, or you can define an alternate location. The Validation tab shows if your rule has any errors, like missing dimensions in the source or destination. When you're done, save and close your rule. Now let's add a custom calculation rule. For planning purposes, I want to increase corporate utilities expenses by 15% before they're allocated to the other cost centers. On the Definition tab, enter the name and description. You also set the sequence, enable the rule, and choose whether to use the rule set context. On the Target tab, define the calculation formula in the context of the result dimension. Next, enter the target intersections for the calculation. Click Validate to validate your formula. Like allocation rules, the Validation tab shows if you have any missing dimensions in your target definition. It also shows if your formula syntax is valid. When you're done, save and close your rule. Finally, review the sequence of the rules in the set. You can edit the rule sequence to change the order in which they run. Continue to create rule sets and rules until your waterfall setup is complete. The waterfall setup helps you visualize and control the flow of data transformations. You group similar rules together to aid in organization. When you run your model calculation, the waterfall sequence lets you control which rules and rule sets are calculated. For example, in addition to calculating all rules, you can start from a selected rule, end after a selected rule, calculate a range of rule sets, or calculate a single rule. You can use the same options to clear calculated data. In our next video, see how to validate rules and calculate your model. Check the description for links to the other videos in this series. To learn more, visit docs.oracle.com.